All right. So I'm sitting here in my kitchen. It's 8:40 p.m. at night, and I'm recording a podcast. You go, Carl, why are you recording a podcast at 8:40 at night? So I have never ever done this. This is the first time ever, but I was just sitting here in the quiet of the evening and just kind of doing a little bit of pondering. And I thought about a urgent phone call that I got yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I want to get this on tape before I forget it, because this problem could solve you like a ton of, or could cost you a ton of money if you don't fix it. And this has probably been the number one thing that has caused me the most amount of grief my entire career, by far, is this subject we're going to talk about. So I get a call from a loan officer. He's in a group we call the Alliance. So the Alliance is just a very small group of loan officers that I work with personally, where we have a small little group meeting, and man, just getting great results. It's worked out like really, 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 really well. But anyway, so he shoots me a text. Hey, Carl, man, I need to ask you something. You got time for a quick call? And he's in the Alliance, so I said, of course. So we get on the horn, and I said, what's up? And he said, hey, I got a caller that's calling for me, like an appointment setter. We call them freedom callers, whatever you want to call them, and they're calling the referral partners for him, setting him up appointments to meet with. And we all know this works, right? I mean, it's the what's that stat, for top producing loan officers? They get 68%, 68% of the leads they close, they get from referral partners. And I think it's I don't have it in front of me. I think it was like 20, what is it? 2%, something like that, of from their past database, and it was 0.2% consumer direct. And so, look, we all know that the referral partner model is by far the method of the top producers. So setting the appointment is totally cool. Having somebody set them for you is totally cool, perhaps. Here is the issue. He said, so I've got this caller, and I don't know how well, in this case, it was a she, how well she's doing. And I said, well, how many appointments has she set? That's an easy thing to measure. How many appointments has she set? He said, two. And I said, in what period of time? He said, 6 days. I said, brother, that's a problem. Like, that's a serious problem. So that person is not being very effective in doing it. He said, well, she's making a lot of calls. And I said, making a calls doesn't matter. It's how effective they are making the calls. Right. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. Ryan Pope, super cool guy. Um, he set 23 appointments with top producing real estate agents just last week. Him personally. So, him calling referral partners or potential referral partners, these are top producers, and he set 23 appointments with them. Ryan Whitfield, another super cool guy. He messaged the other day, was in a thing we call call stars, but he messaged and said, dude, I just set my third appointment in 20 minutes. Right. So now let's go back to this other guy. He said, my caller has only set two appointments in the last 60 days. So I think you can see the problem here. If Ryan Pope did 23 in a week, Ryan Whitfield did three in 20 minutes. And obviously, they're not just they got the right scripts, of course. You have to know what to say and the way to say it. And we tell them how to do all that. But anyway, so only closing two in 6 days is a problem. And it's actually two problems. First of all, it's wasting money on that person that's not being very effective. But even worse than that, it's the cost of lost opportunity, the cost of lost opportunity. And so, what is it costing him not to have those appointments set? That's the real expense, right? That's what's really, really, really expensive. And you say, well, wait, Carl, is just setting the appointments enough? Well, of course not, right? We do this follow up plan with him, but like if you look at who's somebody, Valerie Clymer, she just finished having her best month ever, right? And she said it was all the success of making the calls and doing either virtual coffee appointments or actual coffee appointments, right? We find they both work just as well. But anyway, so she just had her best month ever. So we know that setting the appointments works. We know that working with referral partners works. And when it doesn't work, it's not just the cost of it not work of it of the expense of the employee. The bigger cost again, is the cost of lost opportunity. I really want you to understand that the largest expense for most of us is the COI, the cost of inactivity, or the cost of indecision, or the cost of something not working. In this case, the indecision was letting the person go. And that's the whole point of this episode here is, boy, if you're working with somebody, and now we're not talking about these people as human beings, we're talking about the results of their work, right? So these people can be awesome human beings. We're not talking about somebody as a human being. We're talking about the results of their work. So now, if we're keeping somebody that's getting substandard results, right? This is a substandard employee, not a substandard person, but a substandard employee. Uh, Boy, you got to get rid of them just the minute it crosses your mind. Boy, this one has just cost me a fortune. Um, and what it comes down to is what a thing called conflict avoidance. And so, look, nobody likes to pick up the phone, and nobody likes to meet with an employee and say, "Hey, this isn't working out," right? But you got to take care of it. You got to take care of it. And you know what? Frankly, it's probably not working for them either, right? So if it's not working out for you, it's probably not working out for them either, like for whatever reason. And the conflict avoidance thing is just such an expensive thing that when somebody's not working out, you gotta let them go, right? You just gotta let them go and let them find what is that thing that they're amazing at. And they might be amazing at that very same thing, just not here, right? Just not in your shop, perhaps. They might leave you and go somebody else and do a great job, perhaps, right? I'm not saying they will, or I'm not saying they won't. It's probably not likely, but it's certainly possible. I've seen that happen before. But yeah, you gotta that conflict avoidance thing, which tends to be a thing that salespeople really struggle with, because as a general rule, salespeople tend to be really, really, really super nice people, and we don't like hurting somebody's feelings or making them feel bad. We like fixing things. We like helping people out, and all those things make us great salespeople. um, but sometimes horrible HR person. And I'm gonna tell you, I fall in that category. Being the HR person for the company was not a good fit for me. I had to hand that off to somebody else. But anyway, just what I wanted you to get out of this short episode is if somebody's not working out, it's not your fault. It's not, well, I needed to train them more. I needed to do this. Like, none of that really matters, because the right person will step up to the task and learn what needs to be done and take care of it. Right? It's never your fault if somebody doesn't work out, because we need to find people that can do great work with us despite ourselves, not because of ourselves. I don't know. That's just always been my thought. Because just like you, as you're listening to this, as you came up and started doing real well in business, right? Likely it was you, like, just you're doing whatever it took, right? You're stepping up to the plate, you're making things happen. And we look for the people that work on our team to have that same caliber. And so I have to tell you, today my team is just rock solid. I couldn't be more pleased. And it's just, it's just setting standards. And even though you're a nice guy, even though you're a nice lady, if somebody's not fitting the mold, if it's not working out, boy, identify that very quickly and resolve it. I had somebody tell me, I can't remember who it was, or I'd give them credit. They said, I asked him, well, when do you let somebody go? And he said, the first time it crosses your mind that this might not be the right person, right? He said, it never turns around. And it's not saying that somebody doesn't make mistakes. Somebody made an error. Somebody overslept one day. Somebody forgot to do something, right? Things happen, right? We're not saying that. But the first time it crosses your mind that this person might not be the right person, boy, it's probably a good idea to let that person go. So anyway, not one of our most pleasant topics here to talk about, but the consequence of not taking care of this can be absolutely devastating, right? So you got to nip it in the bud and make it happen. So I think that's about it. No need to beat a dead horse here. So yeah. So there is one more thing. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having a call or calling on your behalf, but I recommend that you make your calls, you do your own sales work, get the results of it, and then hire somebody. And then while you're continue to do it, have them do it also, and just make sure that they're doing it as well as you are, or very, very close, at least 80% as good as you are. And if they are, then you can back off and do other activities perhaps. It's hard to do. There's not too many activities that's going to pay you better than you making your calls, though, right? So that's making your calls is a very, very high producing, very high paying activity. And so I think sometimes, and I've done this myself, we think, well, I'm going to go hire somebody, they'll make my calls. And like this guy, here he is, what did I say? He's like 6 days. So he's like a week and a half into this of work days and only set 2 appointments. And so now he needs to let that person go. And if he still doesn't make his calls while he's looking to hire somebody else, there's more, there's more of expense, a cost of inactivity. And so again, so I think the callers is a fine thing to do after you're doing it yourself and you're getting the results from it. Then you add somebody else, make sure they're getting the results. Then if you want to, you can stop. Even though I would say there's an argument that if they're making calls for you and you're making your calls, now you have two people doing the highest sales activity that I know of. That's certainly made me tens of millions of dollars, like literally. Yeah, if they're getting results and then I stop, well, then I'm losing all those ones that I would have gotten also. And it's kind of like if you're getting paid to pick oranges, oh, I don't know, if you have two people picking oranges and you get paid on their on how many they pick, you'll make twice as much. So it's not that, when I hire this caller, I'm going to fire myself. Maybe I hire my caller, I'm getting the results, they're getting the results. Now we got two people bringing in new referral partners for us, and that's how you ramp things up, and then get a third, and then get a fourth. But yeah, don't be so quick to hand off the calls to somebody else. And if you're sometimes people feel a little uncomfortable making those calls. We have this thing, if it feels kind of uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right. If it feels uncomfortable, you're probably doing it right. So hey, look, if you need some help on how do we hire people, and where do we find these people, or on these like on these calls where what do we say, who do we call, how do we find these top producing agents, what do we say to them, what does a follow up look like, that's got Valerie Clymer having her best month ever, along with certainly many more than her, but just outstanding little story. Just go to getmoreloans.com. And what we'll do is we'll walk you through the little training program that we offer over here, and we'll actually show you the scripts. And sure, you could screenshot them. You could absolutely do that. But we'll walk you through the exact same scripts that we use, that frankly that I've used for years. And I'd say virtually for sure most of our team is using the same scripts. And if I remember right, and this is off the top of my head, so I might be off 10 or 15. I think our team closed 300, and I think it was 387 loans last month. And so it just flat out works. Like, I've tried a lot of different things, and we do a lot of different things, and some other things are responsible for some of our production. But boy, the calls are just, you know, calling referral partners, calling our past database, calling our pre-approved and lookings, just doing everything in a structured format. And frankly, likely just making the calls ourselves. It's a very, very, very well-paying activity. So if you feel a little call reluctance, because I don't know what to say, we'll be more than happy to help you with that. Getmoreloans.com. So anyway, hey, don't mean to, I probably kind of rambled here a little bit, and don't mean to do that, but it is, after all, late in the evening. I always do my best work first thing of the day, but I just didn't. I didn't want this to slip my mind and not share it with you, because yeah, this can be a really big one. So I think that's it. Getmoreloans.com. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. I always appreciate. Thanks for sharing this with your friends. Appreciate all you coming to our events over the years, and looking forward to a great year coming up. Really epic thing. And if you want some information about the alliance, and you and me working together, just be sure to tell them that when you go to getmoreloans.com, say, hey, tell me a little bit about this alliance, and we'll be starting a new group here. And not too many, a few weeks out, we're going to be starting another group. So, all right. Hey, thanks again. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode of Loan Officer Freedom. Bye bye.